Greetings, family. I welcome you to Live with Chatufa. I hope you had a very blessed day. Once again, we are meeting to discuss on the issues that are happening in the nation as we continue to give you updates. We are seeing a very disturbing trend that is happened from a week to 2 weeks ago, coming to where we are today in the fluctuations that are happening in the economy in Zimbabwe. And finally, it has finally arrived to a point where we are talking about the ZIG having totally collapsed and the economy of Zimbabwe is in serious turmoil. ZANU PF's economic failures really have hit the civil servants very hard because we've always been talking about the issue of the salaries that are being paid in ZIG with Mnangagwa's government refusing to pay civil servants in the hard currency in the United States dollar, and yet the government itself does not want to receive the ZIG from the fuel stations to government offices, passport offices, and things like that. And civil servants would have to take their ZIG again to the black market to try and look for the hard currency. At the same time, the money changers were being arrested and tortured and closed into prisons. All this is just, a whole circus that the ZANU-PF government is engaging in. But looking at what has just recently happened, the collapse of the ZIG, and then recently, just today or yesterday, they've devalued the ZIG again by about close to 50%, which is something that is going to make things even worse. Because right now, the idea of wanting to, bring down or devalue the ZIG, it works in a working economy. It's unfortunate that when the economy is not productive itself, the economy is not kicking, and then you devalue with the hope that the economy will gain. It can't gain because the same drainage that is happening to the economy through corruption and corrupt activities will still persist while you have devalued the ZIG, hoping that it will rise. So what I can assure you is that the ZIG is not going to rise anyway. That's an economic measure that they have taken, but it works especially in economies that are working. Unfortunately, ZANU-PF's economy will never work because of so many things that are affecting us, from the political instability, human rights, issues, and as well as the corrupt and the corrupt being made, heroes in Zimbabwe, as well as the issues that have to do with law and order. Because as long as the country is lawless, where some big wigs or untouchable people will continue to do what they want in the country without anyone being able to rebuke them or to arrest them, protected by Mnangagwa himself, who happens to be the president. That makes Zimbabwe a country that is not normal. We know that corruption happens in all countries, but you might find that it is happening in, if yes, it may happen in government, can happen in the private sector, can happen then there. But where you see the president of the country being now the bishop, the head of all corrupt activities, then that becomes a big problem now, because as the person who wields all the power, who is now going to be, instituting some corrective measures to make sure that the law takes its course on those that may be found on the wrong side of the law. So this is one of the major reasons that is causing problems for the economy of Zimbabwe right now. So as we look at the civil servants, we are just looking at a situation where their life has been made even much worse than what it was. Because right now, if the ZIG has collapsed again, it simply means that the life for the citizens, especially the civil servants who are earning partially ZIG and partially hard currency, becomes even worse. They are not going to be able to recover from this, fluctuation that has happened. And for them now to pick up, and while the black market continues to rise, the black market is not going to stop because Mnangagwa has decided to lower the value of the ZIG. the black market will continue to escalate. It is continually rising, and life becomes even more unbearable for the civil servants who will have to be looking or buying, the same US dollar at demanding more local currency to buy one US dollar. And that is going to be more poverty for the civil servants of Zimbabwe. So it's a big, big challenge. We are going to be seeing that teachers and nurses, doctors, and all those that are working in the government are really going to have a very, very tough time. It's unfortunate that once that happens, you discover that we have a government that does not take responsibility for its own people. Where now the government is supposed to be cushioning its people, where in a situation like this, you'd find that we don't have such a government that does that in Zimbabwe. ZANU PF will be still running with their corrupt activities, looking at themselves, minding about themselves becoming richer and richer, while most of the population is suffering. You see, the problem when civil servants suffer, you would find that these are mostly the breadwinners. These are the people that must take care of the underprivileged people, the poor, those that are also in the remote areas of Zimbabwe. They would want to be taken care of by, these civil servants. And yet, when civil servants can't take care of themselves, how then will they be able to take care of the extended members of family and other people that might be dependent on them? If a civil servant in Zimbabwe cannot pay school fees for their own child at a private school, then it becomes very disturbing. So life is going to be worse than what we are seeing right now. Tough times are still coming ahead because of what has continued to happen. If ZANU-PF could have listened from the beginning, especially when they introduced this ZIG, if they'd cooperated with the citizens of Zimbabwe and the players, the business people, players in the economy, it was going to be much better than what we are seeing today. But they continue to be arrogant, and when they come up with their policies, they just go into their closed rooms, discuss and come up with policy, and they just announce policies as if they don't have other stakeholders out there who need also to be part of that process. If you continue to ignore the stakeholders in the process, the stakeholders will continue to do things in a different way. No support for your policies, and then at the end of the day, nothing works and nothing moves, and then we end up in a situation like the situation we are talking about right now. Very, very sad and very pathetic. This is why we are fighting to change leadership. Zimbabwe needs proper leaders. Zimbabwe does not have leadership. Once with the right leadership in Zimbabwe, Zimbabwe is going to rise. Zimbabwe is going to become better. Not under Emerson Mnangagwa and ZANU-PF. It can never happen. So let's continue to pray and fight for our country, demand freedom, demand that ZANU-PF must give back our country because they failed us big time. So this is what it is, family. We will continue to be giving you updates as we continue to discuss on issues that are affecting us and happening in our nation. Remain blessed till we meet again in the upcoming show. Shalom.